Who tried to kill the Skripals? Weeks on from the incident, there remains no determining piece of evidence that puts beyond doubt the question as to who was behind it. Of course, the samples taken from the scene had helped British scientists determine what the poison was, but that isn't the same thing. It was Novichok, they said, but don't ask us which country it came from, because it isn't our job.
We are 100% certain that this is from the Novichok family of nerve agents, a military-grade nerve agent. We provided that information to the police and to the government, and that's really been our role in this. It's not for us to advise on who made the nerve agent or where indeed it came from.
All of which is a bit embarrassing for the British Foreign Secretary, who, apart from comparing Vladimir Putin to Hitler in recent weeks, had seemed to suggest that he'd been told by the same scientists that the poison had come from Russia.
They were absolutely categorical. And I asked the guy myself, I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "There's no doubt."
Which was seized on by the Russian embassy in London. It's pointed out that over the course of a fortnight, the British side seemed to have changed its story. Nor did it help the British case that some tweets from the UK Foreign Office on the same subject had been deleted. The Russian side, roundly accused by the UK and its allies of disinformation, is by now in full flow, arguing that the UK can't stand up its arguments and, along with its allies in Washington, has made the whole story up to conjure up a new Cold War.
Washington has become fixated with the fight against a non-existent so-called Russian threat. This has reached such proportions and acquired such absurd characteristics that it's possible to speak of a return to the dark times of the Cold War.
In the middle of all this, the experts from the Organisation for the Prevention of Chemical Weapons met at The Hague at the behest of the Russians. Moscow has said all along that many countries have Novichok, and neither the British nor anyone else would be able to prove that the nerve agent came from Russia. The seeming lack of a consistent argument from the British side has only strengthened them. In a court of law, the burden of proof rests with the accuser, and while it's true that most of the British Parliament and indeed many European governments seem satisfied with the British assertion that it was overwhelmingly likely that the Russians did it, the Russians can still say, "You can't say for certain that it was us," and they will continue to do so until and unless the British can provide categorical evidence. Laurence Lee, Al Jazeera, in London.